coming up on this edition of Command Center Coach Commands with Ron Rivera.
You gotta finish today. Let's go. Let's go, Ron. Let's go.
With the bye week behind us, the team is refreshed and refocused for another battle with the Giants. I'll talk with Coach about how he is getting ready for the NFC East rematch. The Commanders' defensive front has been unrelenting this season. Daron, Payne, and Jonathan Allen are both putting up Pro Bowl numbers. Coach goes into the film room to break down that unit. And we want all of you fans to have FedExField rocking tomorrow night. Coach Rivera has a message for you, the fans, and it's coming your way right now.
Let's go, baby.
Command Center Coach Commands with Ron Rivera is presented by your local Honda dealer. This holiday season, start making memories with a new Honda. And during Happy Honda Days, find the perfect Honda for you. Don't wait. Visit your local Honda dealer today. Welcome on in. Julie Donaldson with head coach Ron Rivera. Of course, Logan Paulsen is standing by to go over some of the film and the game tape. Look at that beat, because we cannot finish in a tie. Not this time around. It is too important, Coach. Okay, you're a few weeks away from that tie. Does it feel any different now that you kind of have a different perspective and understanding what is needed for you to get to the postseason with the 4 games remaining?
Well, the tie is going to work to our benefit first and foremost. But the key, though, is now we've got to take care of our business, starting with the Giants. This is a big game. Everybody understands it's a big game. And we got a good sense from it because, again, it's the one thing that's been stuck in our craw for about a week and a half so far.
Because it's the bye week coming so late. Everybody understands that this game, there's a lot on the line. Do you have to temper and measure expectations with the players on the magnitude? Sunday Night Football, the entire world is watching, and the future could determine here.
No, not necessarily, because we've been through it. In 2020 we played a big Monday night game against Pittsburgh again. So then we've been through that. This year we had a big Monday night against Philadelphia. So we've been through it. We understand being under the lights, and our guys have responded and played pretty well.
Typically under the bright lights, not always historically has gone very well, but under your regime here, you guys step up in those big moments. Is there a reason you can point to why that is?
I think our guys, their focus, their opportunity to realize and recognize the chance that they have in front of everybody. And it's an opportunity for some of our guys that deserve the attention to play well, and they have. And that's the thing that we want to continue to do is play well.
So you had a couple of practices now coming off the bye week. How have the players responded having had that rest this late in the season?
I thought they were a little rusty initially, but as the week went on, you could see the guys start to ramp it up and start to pick it up. And, their energy level is very high. They're moving around very quickly, practice very fast, so that was a really good thing.
In the last meeting we had against the Giants, a couple touchdowns, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, great to see them get out there. What do you want and need from your playmakers, especially in this moment?
I think to continue to make the plays. More so than anything else, though, is as units, we've got to be better in certain elements of the game. One thing we talked about during the bye week and going into this week was you get into the red zone, let's put touchdowns on the board instead of kicking field goals. That's one thing that really kind of slowed us down a little bit in the last couple of games that we have played. We've gotten into the red zone, but we've kicked field goals. We've got to score touchdowns if you expect to win football games. Secondly, on the defensive side, more so than anything else, is just continue to take the ball away, continue to be good on third down. Those have been a couple elements that have been really good for us during our stretch run.
Taylor Heineke had arguably one of the best games that he has had that last time, but he even himself was saying, look, I missed some early open passes that could have resulted in touchdowns. The one to Logan Thomas early on, it would have resulted in a very different outcome. What are you hoping, because he said he was very self-reflective of that over the bye week and paying attention to it. What are you hoping to get from him in this game, or needing to?
Well, I believe he's learned and he understands that there are certain elements of his game that he can be sharper on, he can be better with. And so that's really what we're looking for, is him to be better with those little things, those little details that he talked about. Because he's right. I mean, he's done so many good things, and he has missed some opportunities that would have been even better for him and for us.
Concerns about the offensive line, because we know the Giants, they like to bring a lot of pressure, they like to blitz a lot, and they are aggressive with it.
Yes, they are. And the only way you can really help yourself with that is to be good up front. Whether you're running the ball or you're protecting the passer, you just got to make sure you have a feel and understanding of what's happening in the moment and what my assignment tells me to do. If we're good with that, we can protect the quarterback, or we can open up those running lanes.
A couple of injuries. Of course, Tyler Larson, the center, goes down. But let's talk more about maybe some of the guys that might be coming back. Where are we with Chase Young, the impact he may have, Benjamin St. Juste, in their health?
Well, both those guys have had good weeks in their rehab coming back. But the key, obviously, is how they're going to feel the next day. And that's one of the things that we're still waiting on to see how our guys will feel once it comes game day.
Let's talk a little bit about a Pro Bowl here. You have a couple guys going up for it. John Allen, Daron Payne having a season that's really worthy of that. What does it say for the defense when you have a couple of guys, and I guess even offense too, that are being considered for the Pro Bowl?
Well, I think it kind of shows that people are paying attention to the positive things that you've done as a football team, that you are growing as a football team, and to see some of our guys that their names have popped up, on those lists, that's really a cool thing because those guys have earned it. They have played very well for us, and they deserve their time in the spotlight.
And what about special teams? We talk about what needs to be done on offense and on defense, but man, Tressway is having himself a season, and we know special teams can be a determining factor as well.
Absolutely. Our special teams have been very productive for us this year. We've had a couple of big takeaways that have helped us, have led to points, most notably in Chicago and against Green Bay, big fumble recoveries on punts. Our coverage guys have been excellent in flipping the field, and as you said, Tress is really having a year. He's averaging, I think, like 3 balls inside the 20 per game lately, so that's been a big deal for us in terms of flipping the field. And then Joey kicking the ball as well as he has, hitting the 58-yarder. Those things are things that really we build on because it's the unhidden, it's the unexpected points that you get when a guy hits a 58-yarder or the great field position that helps the defense or the start of an offensive series. Special
teams so important, especially to offense and defense, and we'll see it all on Sunday Night Football. Well, Coach heads over to join Logan in the film room. Let's talk about the Commanders' defensive front. This unit has been turning heads all season, and that continued in the last meeting with the Giants. They sacked Daniel Jones 4 times. 3 of those sacks coming from a duo making a push for the Pro Bowl, Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen. This group has been putting up some solid numbers without Chase Young, so getting him back in the mix should make that group even more formidable. Now here's a look at the numbers the Commanders' defense put up in the last meeting against the G-Men. Washington is the only team that ranks in the top 10 in rushing defense, passing defense, total defense, and scoring defense. The team has had 4 sacks against the Giants and now has 34 on the season, which is 9th most in the NFL. So for more, let's send it over to Coach and Logan in the film room. It is presented by Mavenspire. Ransomware goes 3 and out with Mavenspire's Smart as a Service cybersecurity offerings. Learn more at mavenspire.com. Logan, Coach, take it away.
Julie, thanks so much. Coach, always a pleasure to be here talking ball with you. So one thing that sticks out to me about the Giants is they want to run the football on first, second down, right?
Yes,
and if you can stop them on first, second down, you get them right where you want them from a pass rushing standpoint. But people don't understand all the stuff that goes into stopping the run, I think, right? So let's take a look at this play. This is a counter play here. They're going to pull this guard, try to kick out the end, going to bring the tight end back. And then this little tight end here is going to motion across the formation. And this is a nice little trick, a nice little wrinkle by them, this kind of easy release to the secondary to influence the end. But I love what you did here. Get a nice little blitz called or a run stunt called that allows the defensive end, Smith Williams, to blow up this guard. And that's a nice physical down there because they're trying to open up a gap right here, Coach.
Absolutely. And again, like you said, it just happened so that we're running pressure right into the play.
Yeah.
Great call by Jack. And again, even better operation by our guys. Again, James Smith-Williams getting down inside, spilling it, so it makes the ball bounce and it doesn't get to go downhill like they want it to.
Yeah, because they want to hit this ball right down this A gap, and there is doesn't look like there's a lot of air there. You get guys doing good stuff. I think you pointed out Bostic earlier, right? Bostic does a nice job. And I don't know a lot about linebacker play, Coach, so talk us through what's going on.
Well, what I like is JB knows he's going to try and pin him, so he's going to work over the top, give him a little head fake inside, swim him. But the guy that really helps to make this play, other than James Smith, also though, is Jamin. Jamin gets a quick read and gets flat, and because he gets flat, he takes all the air out of the play and forces the play to stay inside where all the traffic is.
Right, and I think also, you got to point out the guys inside too, guys like, Ridgeway, guys like Allen, guys who are, again, kind of holding their gaps, making sure that there's nowhere to go with the football.
Well, I love the fact how Ridgeway plays big and burly. He holds that point, he holds the point, okay, and then he gets off and tries to get in on the tackle.
Yeah, and sometimes you just need some guys who are big and burly in there, being big and nasty. And again, here's another one. They're going to run a little outside zone this way with the backer. It's kind of a version of outside zone. They're going to pull this center, kind of try to get to your edge here. You bring a little stunt with Cam curl off the edge, Sweat stunts inside. And what I love about this stunt, Coach, is that he doesn't just go flat and get lost in it. He stunts and then gets vertical into the defense, knocks the center off, right, and then allows the ball to get back to Payne, who again is just been almost unblockable over this season so far.
The key you said right there is Montez gets vertical.
Yep.
If he had continued to go flat, because that's the easy way, what happens now is that center gets a chance to log over the top of him, and he has a chance to kick it out. That ball can bounce to the edge, but because he gets vertical, knocks the center off, and then Cam does a nice job of beating his blocker, he's now in position to force this ball to stay where all the defensive traffic is.
Yeah, I love that. And again, it's a mindset, it's a physicality, right? And like people say, oh, we got to rush the passer, You got to do this stuff first. And I think this is a good I think indicator of where this defensive front is at, because you get John, who has been playing back door a little bit, and it's worked really well for him.
Yes.
But sometimes on outside zone, again, when the back's running out here to the ghost tight end area, like you get caught. But sometimes you need your buddies to help you out when you're playing that way. I love how Ridgeway plays across. And then Cam Kroll, coach, you can't say enough good things about him.
Absolutely. And again, like you said, one nice thing about what JR did was, again, he felt the pressure, he felt the block, and understood what he had to do was he had to work back to his right.
Yeah.
Why? Because Jonathan, hey, he took a little bit of a chance, and sometimes you make plays, sometimes you don't. But when you got guys covering up for you, that's awesome. But again, nice fit by Cam Kroll, understanding where he needs to be, where he needs to fit on this defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice when you get a safety coach who can play a linebacker, play post, because it gives you some flexibility here to make these things. And the reason you grind on these first and second down runs, coach, is so you can get them in these third down situations. Because I think this group is a solid group, but they do struggle in drop back pass protection, right? A lot of teams do. It's not an indictment of them. But I think these types of matchups are things that you want to see. They favor you here as the Commanders, and I think Payne does an excellent job of exploiting this rush and putting this team in a bad situation.
Absolutely. But again, this goes back to what we talked about earlier in the season, that is the rush working together. Watch what Casey Toohill does. He gets to the quarterback depth. Instead of getting washed over the top, he now drops anchor and starts to squeeze. That doesn't allow Daniel Jones to get the edge. And now all of a sudden you see Daron, who made the great inside move, get the sack.
Yeah, and that, Coach, that's something that, I watch this play a whole bunch. You don't notice that type of stuff. You don't notice these kind of players working together, helping these guys make this type of play. Coach, I'm really excited. I think you guys are going to have an excellent outing in terms of stopping the run, and I can't wait to see a whole bunch of sacks by this group.
All right.
For everything you need to know about the team, do not miss our flagship show, Command Center. We have you covered all week, starting on Mondays with Fred Smoot and Logan Paulsen breaking down the highlights. Wednesdays, London Fletcher and Santana Moss take you onto the practice field for a close-up look at the team. And on Fridays, Santana and Logan are here to get you ready for game day. You can see every episode on our YouTube channel and on Commanders.com. You can also check us out on NBC Sports Washington weekdays at 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, Coach and Logan are heading into Coach's office to review some of the game tape from the Giants' loss to the Eagles and how it might impact the game plan for tomorrow. And a little later, we're looking back at our winning legacy here in Washington, and we'll get a message to the fans from Coach Rivera. You're watching Command Center, Coach Commands with Ron Rivera, presented by your local Honda dealer. Welcome back. It is time for some healthy competition presented by Ortho Virginia, the official orthopedic and sports medicine partner of the Washington Commanders. So here's a look at how these two NFC East rivals stack up on paper. Despite going winless in their last 4 games, the Giants still have their most wins in a season since 2016. Washington currently unbeaten in their last 3 games against the Giants, which is its longest unbeaten streak against New York since a 4-game win streak from 1998 to 2000. So we're getting set to take on the Giants for the second time in a matter of 3 weeks. And of course, given that the last time we saw them, it ended in a tie, Washington and head coach Ron Rivera want to make sure they do everything to get back in the win column. And that means they are going over the film. That is exactly where we find Coach and Logan Paulsen in Coach's office. This is the Rivera Review, presented by DC Prime. All stakes are not created equal.
How does your game plan change? How does your approach change going to a team that you just played so recently?
Well, the fortunate thing for us, obviously, is we played them 2 weeks ago, got our bye, and now we're ready to play them again. And the big thing for us, obviously, is we had a chance to go back and look at the things that we did well and how we can improve upon those, and then the things that they did well against us and how we can counter it. So going into this game, again, breaking things down, getting a chance to watch their Philly game, there are a couple things that stood out that we really wanted to pay attention to.
Yeah, so a couple of things that I saw, Coach. You know, when I look at this offense, I see it's Daniel Jones kind of or bust. They're not running the ball as well. It's really him on keepers, him on quarterback keeps, him on play action passes. How do you account for him as a runner and kind of mitigate what makes him so effective?
Well, you know, the big thing is, and again, I agree with you about the running portion of it, got to be able to handle Saquon.
Yep.
But the thing to it, though, is, again, if you're shutting him down, now you got to pay attention to the quarterback.
Yep.
And again, if they're successful, their play action game comes into play. So we've got to be disciplined. That's the first and foremost thing you have to do. You have to be disciplined, especially when he keeps the ball.
And here, this is not an example of what it means to be disciplined, Coach. Why does this play hit against Philadelphia right here?
Because the corner coming down as late support takes his eyes off of the play.
Yeah.
Okay, he's assuming that the ball's being handed off on the inside, and that's being taken care of. All of a sudden, the realization that, oh, he's got the ball, and before you know it, Daniel's around the corner more than anything else.
Yeah, because when you look at this, they're gapped out. Everything should be good. They've got this safety pressure off the edge. It should be kind of a dead play for the quarterback if this corner fits it correctly. And it just shows you how, when you're stopping a quarterback run, everybody's involved. Corners, safeties, everybody.
That's the thing about whether you're running, the RPOs, and the quarterback decides to keep the ball and run, on the zone reach, you have to be responsible for him. Somebody has to, right now, because all 11 guys are involved in the play.
Yeah.
Okay, typically, once he hands the ball off, it's 11 against 10.
Yes, right.
Okay, because the quarterback usually gets out of the way. Here, because he keeps the ball on the zone read, what happens now is all 11 guys are in play. That means as you funnel it down to the finite point, as you pointed out, safety's coming off the edge, the corner's replacing, the corner's the guy that's now responsible for the quarterback.
Yeah, and this has to be pretty frustrating for the Philly defensive coaches, I would think, right? Because it's design. The design is there, just the execution falls short.
Absolutely, the design was perfect. They brought pressure.
Yeah.
If they had handed the ball off, they're going to get a tackle for a loss. If the quarterback keeps it and everybody plays their assignment and is disciplined, they can stop this play for a loss as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think, obviously him as a runner is a big deal, and I think that to me is maybe the biggest key in the game. But another thing that really shows up a lot for them is the pressure packages that Wink Martindale brings, right? He brings a ton of pressure. He brings game plan specific pressures. How do you, I guess, anticipate what he's going to do and kind of account for all the stuff that he's shown over the course of the year?
Well, and that's the thing is you can anticipate all you want. You just don't know which one he's going to use and win. So you've got to be sound in your protections. For the most part, you're probably not going to free release everybody.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
You're either going to chip your way out, or the running back's going to have to be part of the protection as far as scanning through and deciding where he's going.
Yeah.
So again, as you see something like this happen, and again, what happens is, it looks like the back is free releasing.
Yeah.
But because the quarterback, he times it out well and anticipates very well, he's able to beat the pressure with his eyes. So sometimes when you are free releasing everybody, the quarterback is responsible for at least one person. If that one person blitzes, he now has to get the ball off base of that. So if you look at it, because they're running a cross dog, it looks to me as if the quarterback's the one that's responsible for the blitzer. Because watch, he throws the ball with great anticipation to his receiver down here who's running the out.
Yeah, because in the first game, you guys had, I think, a pretty solid protection plan overall. A couple times Taylor holds the ball too long. How important is it to get the ball out of his hand and him to anticipate and trust these receivers?
Absolutely, and this is a great example of just trusting and throwing it early. If you watch Jalen Hurts, he delivers his ball just as he's getting out of his break. And because he's done that, and because he recognized the fact that there was a cushion, he can anticipate it, throw it away from the defender to where only his guy can catch it. Because if you watch it, this ball's thrown right to the sideline.
Coach, I'm really excited to watch you guys against the Giants for round 2. And as always, I learned a ton in these conversations.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you, guys. Now, speaking of great stuff, for this week's game, the Commanders Charitable Foundation is teaming up with the U.S. Marine Corps for our annual Toys for Tots game. Fans are encouraged to bring toys to donate for the holiday season. Over 50 U.S. Marines from across the DMV will be on hand to help collect your donations, which will be distributed to local children this holiday season. And how about a gift for yourself? We'll get a ticket to the Giants and Commanders game tomorrow night. Receive a limited edition Love Your Melon beanie, starting at just $65. We want to see you for Sunday Night Football, so visit commanders.com/loveyourmelon to purchase yours today. Now on game days, do not miss Command Center Game Day Live, the official pregame show of the Washington Commanders. We're live on the air starting 2 hours before kickoff, so that'll be 6 p.m. tomorrow for our primetime matchup with the Giants. You can watch on our YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter. And after the game, don't miss Command Center Post-Game Live for reaction analysis and interviews with head coach Ron Rivera. You can also find that on YouTube. Take command of your game days. Stay with us because when we come back, Coach will be back here with me in the studio to look back on a winning legacy moment and a message to the fans coming out to FedExField. That is next on Command Center Coach Commands with Ron Rivera, presented by your local Honda dealer. It is time for a winning legacy presented by the Maryland Lottery. Play fast, win fast with new fast play games from the Maryland Lottery. Today we are flashing back to some history. December 13th, 1970. Larry Brown becomes the first player in Washington franchise history to surpass the 1,000-yard mark in rushing in this game against the Eagles. Brown would finish the season with an NFL-leading 1,125 rushing yards, becoming the first Washington player since Cliff Battles in 1937 to lead the league in rushing yards. Coach, not to put too much on the age, but you're probably about 8 years old then. I don't know how much you remember about him, but just about some of the great running backs of your day growing up.
Well, not just my day growing up, but once I became a rookie in the league. When you get an opportunity to watch guys like Walter Payton and Marcus Allen, Barry Sanders, I mean, those guys were tremendous. But I do remember Larry Brown. Part of it was because, again, watching Charlie Taylor, as a Redskin fan was really a cool thing to see that. And really, I've been very fortunate because I've seen some great ones, I've played against some great ones, and I've coached some good ones.
And some good ones now, of course, we have relying heavily on the run game. We'll see how much that factors in on Sunday Night Football. But Coach, what do you want to say to the fans that are coming out?
Well, you know what? I hope they're loud and proud. I really do. We've been trying to get to where we are today, be a team of relevance, but also be a team that this area, the DMV, can be proud to cheer for. And that's what we want to do, is we want to make sure our fans understand that we're doing this for them. We're going to play the best football we can, be physical, be fast, be smart, and let's be victorious.
I know it was a relatively slow start to the season, but this team has certainly turned the corner and is playing hot. And everybody talks about having meaningful football in the month of December. Well, this month of December, there is nothing more meaningful than, of course, what's going to happen on Sunday night. We wish you the absolute best, Coach. Can't wait to see it. Hopefully everybody will be all bundled up. Weather is going to probably factor in just a little bit into the game plan, but it'll be exciting no matter what. Thank you, everybody, for joining Coach Commands with head coach Ron Rivera. Of course, we enjoy your time as well as Logan Paulsen. We'll see you next time.